Alright, since this is the first recap, I'm going to be quite a bit talking about how practice should go, things to shoot for, what to do when mistakes happen, how to use the metronome, and things like that. So, pretty much everything I do myself and I have everyone else do, we start at the 60 beats a minute, which is why the 60 beats a minute is the tempo on all three of these exercises, chord progressions, rhythms, whatever you'd like to call them. And 120 is all I'm asking you to try and work up to. I don't want you to go past that. I know you can definitely play faster than that, but before we try and do anything faster than that, just want to make sure that you're not going to a point with the metronome that you're unsure if you are actually on beat anymore. And that's a big thing I've noticed with a lot of people when they start really pushing their speeds is they may be playing fast, but they are unaware that they are no longer actually following the metronome, and they're off time, they're off beat, and they don't realize it. Usually that, and sometimes it, I was going to say it usually happens like crazy fast, but that's not always the case with everybody. Sometimes people, like at 160, 180 beats a minute, they don't really know if they're on the beat anymore. So one goal that I have with you and everybody is to always keep you within the realm of definitely being able to play it correct. Just like I do a lot of like weightlifting analogies with stuff. So just like when you're learning how to lift, like do the squat, you don't want to have a lot of weight at the beginning. You need to learn how to squat with just your body weight. You need to get that form down. Always make sure that you're squatting very well to avoid injury. Well, you're probably not going to injure yourself by shredding too fast. Probably not. Maybe. But we want to make sure that the form is really, really good, really solid, and constantly build that form, build that foundation, so when you do go and push those speeds, your form has a much better chance of maintaining. And just like when you lift weights, when you're pushing yourself really, really hard and to the point of muscular or muscle failure, form's going to break down a little bit. Form's definitely going to break down when you're pushing your speeds as hard as you possibly can. That's the same thing there. But anyway, so that's why no more than 120 for right now. But depending on how things go this week, if it's like super easy for you to hit the 120 on everything, then we can talk about maybe going a little bit faster. But this week is really about just kind of getting you used to counting and seeing just the variations of eighth notes, quarter notes. And the next step is going to be doing more upbeat, upstroke focus. So it's kind of going towards what you said your buddy was doing, and just playing nothing but in between the metronome clicks. So it's going to start guiding you towards that. So we will be doing that fairly soon, within the next couple months, I'd imagine. Maybe even sooner. Maybe even sometime in December. We'll see. See how well it goes. And if, just for future reference, let's say you can't get something up to that top speed goal or something, that's fine. Just get it to where you can. Always make sure you're playing it correct. And, just do the best you can. And then it's up to me to kind of figure out, it's up to me to figure out, well, what can we do to get you to that higher speed and stuff like that. So, again, just do the best you can. Keep it accurate. That's the main thing. Accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. Because speed without accuracy just sounds like a mess. We don't want that. So, typically when you're working up metronome stuff, like with speed building, every time you play something correctly one time, you bump the metronome up no more than 5 beats per minute. That's how I do it. That's how I build my speed. That's how I have built it. That's how I have all the students do it and whatnot. However, with this stuff, since it's rhythm focused and it's not really about building speed, this might be worth watching again a couple times. So the typical thing would be, again, working this up from 60 to 120, going 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, and so on until you hit that 120. That could be time consuming, especially with 3 things to work up. So eventually, you have some maintenance speeds that I'd like you to do each day. So let's say and after a couple of days, you definitely got it at 120 just fine. The 4 maintenance speeds I'd like you to do every day for all 3 of these things is 60, 80, 100, and 120 beats a minute. Now, working up to that, though, I wouldn't go 60, 80, 100, 120 on day 1, because especially since you're getting accustomed to seeing this stuff and counting it as you go, going up by 20s is way too fast. So maybe for like day 1, you go 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Just kind of take it up to where you can go. Try and work on each thing equally as much as you can. So maybe like 5 minutes apiece with each one, and then after that last 5-minute practice or 5-minute exercise chunk, you go back to the one that's more problematic and focus on that a little bit more. I guess it depends on how you're able to structure your practice time. So I was just saying like 5 minutes as an example, while keeping the minimum of 20 minutes of practice a day kind of in the ballpark. So I try and structure things so that you can get adequate practice within 20 minutes. Because I don't want you to have to spend like an hour or more really working your butt off on this stuff. So keep that in mind too. You basically try and work on everything at fairly even amount. And so let's say you get up to 100 your first day. On, let's say all 3, just for the sake of argument, just to get the example there. So you get 60, go up by 5s to 100, and then your brain's tired and it's kind of feel like it's time to take a little break. Maybe the next day you go 60, 70, and then 80, 85, 95, 90, 95, 100, and so on. And then maybe after a couple more days, it's definitely getting better at the speeds there. So then you can go like 60, 80, and then 90, 100, and then 105, 110, 115, 120, and so on. So there is going to be some judgment on your part as in terms of like how fast you end up going with the metronome. In terms of, do you go up by 5? Do you go up by 10? In the beginning, first day, I would definitely go up just by 5, especially since you're learning this new skill. So if you have any questions with that, please let me know. And I think that covers the metronome side of things. So for the demonstration here, for this week, I'll go ahead and do the maintenance speeds. And this way you can double check things. You can play along with the video to just in case you have any questions if you're doing it right or not. And yes, you're going to continue just the hand going down, up, the whole time. So basically every time you're syncing up your downstrokes with that metronome, just like you're syncing up your foot to be tapping every time that metronome clicks. So every time the foot goes down, the hand goes down. Every time the foot comes up, the hand comes up. So it's always down, up, down, up, down, up the whole time. And say what you play as you play it. And I'll be doing that too. Now, bare minimum, definitely be able to do this counting out loud while you play it at 60 beats a minute. As you get faster, it gets more tricky. So once you get to a certain speed, if it feels like it's too much of a pain in the butt to continue counting out loud, you can go ahead and stop. But just at the slow speed, that's definitely something, got to be able to do that. So, all that being said, I think we're ready to play. I hope I got the mic close enough so we just hear the pitch shifted guitar. Hopefully not too much acoustic string comes in, because that just sounds, it's a weird combo. Alright, so I'm going to count off 4 so you know when I'm going to start. And here we go. Number 1, 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the last one, the last chord, you don't need to let that hold out for the 4 full counts. I mean, this is a whole note. Look, the mouse ain't showing up. There it is. This is a whole note, which lasts the four full beats. I always just hit it and say done at the end. So you don't need to let that ring out the entire time. Just had to fill up the bar with the correct math. Alright, 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 1, 4, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, all right. Number 2. So definitely a good idea to get the count down first. So see if you can figure out the count before you follow along with the video. So here I go, 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. Again, just like number 2, see if you can figure out the count before you follow along. And here we go. 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Wow, I screwed that up. Take two. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. There we go. First recap of the first lesson. And yeah. Any questions come up, anything unclear, whatnot, any feedback you'd like to give on how your progress is going, you're always welcome to hit me up before the next lesson. And I'll see you next week.